Leave Bam alone. He's only human. Ah! Alright, that was a little too dramatic, but it's basically what the video is. Just watch the damn show. Hey, what's up there, YouTube? Today I'm going to talk about some old news, something most people already know about, and it's been talked about, and I'm very late to jump on this bandwagon, but I kind of do want to talk about it, because Bam Margera, he is, like, my idol. I love the guy. I mean, I'm not sure he's exactly an ideal person to idolize, but he's pretty freaking awesome. I will start this off by saying I actually didn't know who Bam Margera was until like I had already been skateboarding for a little bit. Love skateboarding. Maybe I'll do another video talking about how I got into skateboarding, but that's not relevant right now. I like knew who Bam Margera was. Like, I knew the name from playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, and then one of my buddies was like, hey, do you know Bam Margera? I'm like, oh my god, he's in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4! And he showed me this show, Viva La Bam. So, before I knew who Bam was, I was already into skateboarding, and I know he got a lot of people into skateboarding, but Bam didn't get me into skateboarding. Bam got me into liking the idea of throwing myself off a roof. So, maybe he's not a good role model, duh, but I love him, and I look up to him, and I do want him to get better, and that is kind of what this video is about. If you follow his Instagram, you know that he had a meltdown, and he went on a little bit of a binge, but who wouldn't, given the circumstances, although it is a substance he should stay away from. I mean, it's not like I have any room to talk. I'm not one to judge. Yeah, he's been fired from Jackass 4. And what I want to touch base on is, like, you know, everyone's just talking about it, like, in a different light, like, oh, Bam's been fired from Jackass 4. My take on it more is, like, is that even fair? Is that even, like, justified? I mean, sure, it's justified, because Margera talked about how it was due to contract violation. But at the same time, like, if you hear him talk about what he had to go through during the filming of Jackass 4, it is a little bit ridiculous. They kind of put him through a lot. That contract was very strict. They forced him to take his medications, breathe into a breathalyzer. He wasn't allowed to go anywhere without permission, it sounds like. Like, those are some pretty strict rules. And then, you know, he violated the contract and got fired. Again, you violate a contract, you get fired. That's a pretty natural thing. But was the contract too strict? I mean, I think it probably may have been a little bit too strict, honestly. In Bam's own words, he said he was fired from Jackass for being a jackass, and it's kind of like, I mean, no shit, he's gonna be a jackass, you know? But on top of that, Steve-O got to stay in Jackass 2, and he was doing drug binges. But I actually researched that a little more. The difference there is Steve-O stayed sober throughout the entire duration and production of Jackass 2. So I guess that's really the main difference there. And he got better. He adopted a dog named Wendy. He went to Peru, he got sober. Steve-O's doing really well, and that whole SeaWorld Sucks thing was fucking phenomenal. Steve-O is an outstanding human being, but he he had his struggle with drug addiction as well, as you'll see in this clip here.
Make any sense? Of course, I'm making perfect sense.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me, man. I know exactly what you're talking about. Fuck. But, yeah, is it unfair to fire Bam Margera from Jackass, considering that he kind of started the whole thing? Now, of course, Big Brother played a role in it, like Big Brother Skateboard Magazine, and then Jeff Tremaine started getting stuff together, and he saw the CKY videos, and he brought Bam out here. Well, not out here, but he flew Bam to like meet what would be the Jackass crew, and then Jackass got started. But the real question here is like, would Jackass even exist without Bam? I don't really think it would. I mean, it definitely wouldn't be the same thing. It probably wouldn't have been as successful. Now, what's incredible about the CKY videos is Bam produced all of that himself. He sold it. He did all the editing. Like, it was crazy. He did everything for it. But, like, fun fact about CKY, not a lot of people know. CKY isn't, like, just a group of dudes jumping into bushes off of trucks going God knows how fast. It's also a band, actually. The videos were to promote... hold up. I can't speak English because I'm an idiot sometimes. The CKY videos were to promote Bam Margera's older brother Jesse's band. CKY is Jesse's band. Now, a lot of people I went to junior high school with didn't know this. A lot of people I went to high school with didn't know this. Even today, people I work with, they don't know until I tell them that CKY isn't like a clothing brand or anything. It's a band that Bam Margera's older brother Jess, is it Jess or Jesse? I should have known this before making the video. Damn it, David! Yeah, fucking Ginger Bam is the drummer for CKY. Yeah, just so, like, major shout out to Phil and April for producing such legends out of their loins. Guys, I think it's time to feed Phil again. We can do it now. I think he's earned it. So I'm gonna just scroll, forgive me, I'm gonna read off my little script here because I don't remember shit. But, you know, one thing that really sucks about more than seeing Bam struggle with alcoholism on his Instagram page, it's seeing the effects of bipolar disorder firsthand. And, you know, it also sucks seeing his fans or people who follow him on Instagram at least commenting on there, get help, get sober, blah, blah, blah. They just really don't understand how bipolar disorder works. Bipolar disorder is a crippling disease that just completely ruins the life of the person who is suffering from it. And quite honestly, for some of the episodes that we see Bam have, like, he probably is sober. He's just having a psychotic episode. And people will just immediately assume that he's on the sauce again. Like, I think the dude's trying. I really do. And then people are also giving him shit for that one post he made about, like, oh, fuck Novak. Novak, a piece of shit, you know? And then the next day, they're all buddies, and they're skating together, and people are like, oh, what the fuck? And it's like, that's just kind of how bipolar disorder works. But, like, shout out to Novak for being such a good friend, for, like, taking the brunt force, like, of being blasted online every so often, and still understanding that Bam can't control it, and still being willing to hang out with Bam and help Bam. Like, Novak deserves more credit for being a good friend. Like, shout out to Novak. But yeah, like, what else did I want to touch base on? Like, a lot of people really do, like, unfollow Bam, or, like, always say that they're unfollowing Bam now at this point of his, like, struggle with bipolar disorder and alcoholism. And, like, I gotta say, like, I never really thought about unfollowing Bam except for maybe, like, 2 posts. Like, one post being some older gentleman inquiring information on, like, how to get into skateboarding and whether or not he was too old to skate or not. And Bam flat out said, like, you're too old, don't do it. And it's like, dude, it's kind of ironic how the guy that got so many people into skateboarding is now telling someone not to skate. That was a little disappointing to see, and that post is still up. And then there was another one saying something about how masks don't work and they're stupid, and it's like, wear your goddamn mask. Just everybody in general, they do work, just saying. But he has actually removed that post. But actually, in the post about the older skateboarder, you could see my comment on there saying the exact same thing I did. just now, just in text form, and it's right above a famous skateboarder YouTuber that I happen to love, Doug Desautel's. Love Doug Desautel's. If you don't follow me on Instagram, my username's right there. You should go do it, and follow Doug too, because Doug is the shit. I love Doug Desautel's. I actually enjoy watching Braille and Andrew Schrock and all that shit. But I mean, duh, I'm a skateboarder. But yeah, it sounds like my dad told me he's a semi-truck driver. But yeah, basically that's what I wanted to touch base on in this video is like, is it unfair that they kicked Bam off of Jackass 4? I mean, it destroyed him emotionally, as we saw. And on top of that, without Bam, there wouldn't have been a Jackass in the first place, because he did the CKY videos. And a lot of his fans have actually said, no Bam, no deal. They're not going to buy a ticket to go see the show. They're not going to pay for a ticket. Bam even said something about sending him $1 so that he can make his own movie. And honestly, I would do that if I really think that there's a movie that's going to happen. If there is a movie that Bam is going to make, then I will send him some money to make that movie, because I love watching Bam Margera on screen, and I think that it would be good for his mental health to kind of have a comeback in a sense. But I don't really think he's going to get much better with his mental health until he fully gets over the death of Ryan Dunn. But I say those words very carefully, because I'm not Bam. I'm not going through that struggle. I wouldn't want to deal with this struggle. I'm just fine with the schizophrenia and shitty childhood that I have. Actually, I'm not fine with it, but I mean, at least I know how to deal with it. Not healthily, alcohol. Yeah, I think it's completely unfair that they are going to fire Bam, and I completely understand everyone that is going to boycott the film because Bam isn't in it. And in fact, when I first heard Jackass 4 was in production, and at this point it still wasn't clear whether or not Bam was going to be in the video or in the movie. I keep saying video because I make videos, not movies. It was still unclear whether Bam was going to be in the movie, and I pretty much said the same thing I said just now. If Bam's not in it, I'm not going to watch it, because Bam Margera is the reason why it all started, kind of. Like, he started the CKY videos, and that got the ball rolling for Jackass. So, yeah, no Bam, no deal. I mean, I'm not going to go buy a ticket unless, like, scenes of Bam Margera are in it, because it's just not fair. I mean, we're already missing Ryan Dunn, our random hero. Like, to cut someone else from the film, it just doesn't make sense, you know. I think that Paramount was a little too harsh in the course of action in deciding a punishment for Bam. And that's pretty much my 2 cents on it. I had a lot to say about that. But even if Bam isn't in Jackass 4, I hope, you know, he actually does produce his own movie, and that it's a hit, and that it's great, and I hope that Bam gets better. I hope he feels better soon, because bipolar disorder is a terrible thing to live with.